Uh, all right, episode one, here we go.
All right, you want to kick off?
Sure. I guess we should warn our friends who will start by watching this, send out anyone else but our friends will dare to do it. We're just recording this to see our painful journey between now, which is September 8th, uh, 2024, and Sabre Delon, which is, when is it again?
Full Ironman,
Yeah,
full distance.
June 21st. So I had no idea. Fabian convinced me to going back and doing another one. What? Good job.
I thought that was more like the other way around.
Yeah, potentially true.
I think Gregory was dying to do a full distance Ironman.
That's
I'm
right.
glad he's doing it.
That's right. So cool. So pretty much we're just going to go over, do some check-in, see how where the adventure takes us. Doing so. I do have one question for you today, and that's something that actually somewhat struck me when I did my first one. Yeah, my first one. Each reading that last time. The question was, so what do you think your finish time is going to be?
My finish time, I have no idea. I think like the average, like it's above like between 10 to 12, isn't it? What the cutoff? That's what I'm gonna aim for, just right before the
We cut off to 16 hours. That I can tell you.
16. I have no clue. Just so impossible to like to give you a bit of background. Like I feel like most of the time people when they're doing triathlon, they're like, oh, I have a background as a swimmer, as a runner, as a biker. I don't have any background. I did like
You,
fighting
you
sport.
just you just did one a few.
I did one, but without like any background. It's been like 1 year prior to the sprint triathlon to give like some this some context. 1 year prior, like I did follow some video online to learn like freestyle because I couldn't even mentally swim freestyle. I wouldn't like understand how does it work. Biking, 2 years prior, I had like a peloton bike, which is like nothing in common. I bought like a road bike 2 months before the sprint triathlon and running. I did run like to like the,
Yeah, running is overrated.
but it is. But I think I would take like 30 minutes to do like 5K, which is absolutely not great at all as a runner from what I
That's fine. Some of us will take 35, so that's okay.
that, that's true, but that's where like I'm kind of like coming from. Like I don't have like any strong background on any of those things. Um so yeah, coming up with like time. And also it's not like what I'm aiming for either. I'm kind of like fascinated about like the whole process, like the whole training, like the whole nutrition around it, how you balance like that amount of training. Like when I was doing the sprint triathlon, I went with like around 8 hours a week, which is a lot for a sprint triathlon that I learned after that. You don't need that amount of time, but it does require like so much like balance. Like you have to focus. Well, I expect like to be way more focused on my sleep, on the nutrition, balancing like work, life, family life, and all those things. So I'm fascinating like more by everything around it rather than like what's gonna be my time. Like it's gonna be whatever I can put out that day.
No, I think it's the right way to go about it. You're three spot on. You're way more advanced in getting back to physical shape right now than I am. I think the only advantage I have over you is that I know it's gonna hurt on the day, but that's it. I'll be happy to finish the same day that I start. That's true, hopefully. But it should be a fun swim into the canal of the Sable d'Olonne. So I'll never do the Vendée Globe, but at least I'll swim in it where they come out of. So that should be fun. The rest is going to be I have no idea what the bike is going to be. The run is going to be, well, painful no matter what. But that's the fun about it. I do say the process is what matters. Figuring out what works, what doesn't work, where we at. Are we going to be looking for a coach? What do you think?
Well, that's the thing. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I have like 2 weeks to figuring out things. Like because ideally it's like a year of preparation for first Ironman. So that's not gonna that's not gonna be the case. So
We have 10 months.
so I'm aiming for like 40 weeks of like training. I'm coming out of like that sprint triathlon where I was like doing 8 hour a week. So hope like I'm still in shape. I did take like more easy like the last 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm trying like to thinking either like coaching or just following a plan or going like to a tri club. The thing with the tri club sounds like, how can you follow a plan if you go to a tri club? You can go really to the session.
Yeah.
And also, it's so many hours a week. My weeks are already very busy. I can't be like having that kind of constraints. Like at the moment, I'm doing like social run and social cycling. I'm like thinking also like that may be a thing that I may put aside. Like for example, I went like riding today and it took like almost 4 hours where
And you almost died.
yeah, but that makes me think as well of like 10.
I'm a little trader. I'm fine. Worst I comes and fall on the kitchen floor. That's it.
Yeah, 10 weeks. It's like 10 weeks where you can get injured. Like, but yeah, it took like almost like 4 hours. I think like on the trainer, maybe it would have taken like 2 hours because you don't have any stop, you don't have any break. So it's just like a different way to doing things. So even the social, I'm thinking I may put it like aside unless I feel like too isolated like during the training. I think 3 clubs not gonna be much like benefits. I think it would be good, but again, if you have like 20 people in the session, like I don't expect like any direct feedback. So if I don't have any feedback, I prefer to have the flexibility of training whenever I need. The upside of what make me lean toward a coach in that you can have like those feedback and someone like kind of like managing your training plan, updating every week, and have like more flexibility because I don't have the experience to be like, hey, I couldn't train. What can I do instead of that? What I've done with the sprint triathlon, and again, the impact is not the same, was like, oh, I couldn't do it yesterday. I'm going to do it like tomorrow. But then you shuffle things around and I did it randomly, to be honest. And that's where like for the Ironman, I want to avoid like reduce as much as possible any kind of like error and mistakes and all those things.
Which I think you're spot on. I know for me, I'm on the fence for one because I we travel schedule more than most people, and there are weeks where I'm not able to ride, or weeks where thankfully I'm not able to run. They'll always have the option to run, unfortunately. But the riding is going to be the challenging equation. So maybe having someone to help figure out which week goes and which week does not go could be a plus. Because yeah, the idea is first and foremost to train, but to get there uninjured and rested and ready to have somewhat of a good day or as good a day as possible.
For sure. Like you have some experience with like triathlon and Ironman already.
Yeah, well, I started 4, I finished 2, so I'm not sure there would be huge experience on it. We'll see which one the balance goes to. It's not like it's as weird as it sounds. It's fun because you find out a lot about yourself, what's important, what's not important, how you do certain things, how you stay committed to things when you commit to them. I have the luxury of not being fast, so I'm not that worried about the result in a sense. I've been around people for whom literally putting socks on, what's the difference between qualifying for Kona or not, kind of a thing. And I have that's not an issue that I have in life, as far as speed. So that makes the process a lot different than someone who wants to go fast. All the respect for those people who go fast. Uh, yeah, I think if anything, the experience is more. If you train something that can be done, but the better you train, the smarter you train, then the more enjoyable the experience is on race day. And it's all the little details that go into play. Nutrition is a huge thing that people neglect to look at. As much as I would love to carve down pizza and burgers, that's not going to be feasible. But that's where some hard part to figure
out. In your previous like triathlon, how did you train? Like, did you follow like specific plan? Did you have like a coach?
So I had for the first two, I had a coach who, back then what they were doing was these like create plans, and then you could get a hold of them like once a month to check in. So it was kind of a hybrid kind of thing. And that was great because the guy was very good at triathlon. He did really well. And running was not basically the part that he liked the most. So he didn't make her run as much, which was totally fine. I knew it was going to work anyway. And then the other two, everyone tried to use the same approach. But this time around, I'm likely going to have to try to do something different because of the schedule that I have, where training is feasible, but just not in the usual normal way. And then nutrition, it's about literally trying to see what you can hold during the longer session. And if you hold it, great. If you don't hold it, you know, to try something else. I know it feels horrible, but that's really how it feels.
Yeah. And do you feel like you carry like the experience of your previous like Ironman? Like, do you feel like you could do your own training plan? Like, it sounds like you're gonna go for a coach.
I mean, the way that every plan that I had before in the past is really a lot of long, slow volume, which is extremely boring, but the bigger the base, the safer you are, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
This time around, we have to do things a bit differently because I'm older. I don't mean this as a joke, but I'm going to be 50 by the time the can start. And that plays a big difference than before. So I have to be a bit more deliberate in what I do this time around.
Yeah, but that's what I find like very interesting as well. That's why I'm not like driven neither like by finish time and all those things, where I'm like, but how do you make it like sustainable for your body, your mental, like for the long run? Because you could destroy your body as well, being like reckless.
Yeah, I've seen people destroy their bodies doing those things. But again, I think it goes back to I kind of know for you, but at least I know for me, we have no delusion of qualifying for the World Championship. We have no delusion of finishing top 3 in our age group. So already, if that does not change our perspective from the start, there's something seriously wrong. You have a kid, I have a kid. You take priority over those things as well, because we need to be able to walk around and help them. You know, laying on the couch is no issue. Work-wise, we both know that there are things that need to be done work-wise. And yeah, it's true. We have a yoga master at work, but there's also stuff we need to do around that as well. So that's where I'm not as worried as if we were going no, we're going to go like top 10 and we're shooting for a qualifying spot. It would be like, we're going to die.
Right. Yeah. Oh, something that you need to answer, because like I'll try to negotiate the distance down, obviously, because it does feel, I understand, like, you know what, sprint triathlon, somehow I can imagine this can be as hard as a full Ironman, in the sense of if you do like a sprint triathlon like in an hour, must be like so demanding in terms of like preparation and all those things. But anyway, so that's kind of like the tendency of like, no, shorter distance, easier. Let's do an easier distance for me, bigger. And you were very insisting of like, no, full distance, don't have Ironman or anything else.
Okay, so 2 things on this. First one, yes, I will take full responsibility for insisting on the full distance. mostly because I know it's the only way that I'm not going to wing the training where, swimming like 2K and riding 90K and then walking 20 is, it's somewhat manageable in my mind. I can't wing a full one. So I didn't want to do something with wing. Now, having said this, having done shorter distances like Olympic, they hurt a lot more because you have to go fast, even if you don't want to. And God, that hurts. It's like, but it's just a different approach and perspective. And look, I'm not going sub 10 in 10 months from now, so my anxiety level from this standpoint is lower.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess what led me like to accept to do like the full Ironman, it does feel like the puzzle seems to be more complicated. Like, if you do an Olympic, doesn't seem that you have to worry too much about like nutrition. I guess even if you mess up, you can still manage like to cross the line. I would imagine like half Ironman, you can still manage to Ironman without like paying attention of that piece of the puzzle. That'd be a terrible experience.
I still just pay attention. It's just also the how do you manage when something goes wrong? Like we're in the second Ironman that I did. That's gonna age me a lot. But we had the first power bars. They were like those things were like still like you could actually hit someone with it. It would go unconscious. But and I had trained with that, no worries, everything. I'd get out of the water, get on the bike, get to the 5K, open the bar, start to eat it. I could not keep it down. So I ended up doing the rest of the race on Gatorade, which is somewhat fine from an energy standpoint. And for half, it sucked, but that was still feasible. Like I could not imagine having to do 180 and then the marathon on just liquid. It would be like that would not be a pretty sight for me or the spectators. But so it's not just prepping for one thing, also figuring out what's going to be the backup plan if something goes wrong, if whatever.
Right. Yeah. What do you find like the most difficult, like for an Ironman?
The rock.
Everything. The swim, the cycling.
Look, there are different things. I think for me, I'm a lousy runner to begin with. I used to be a fairly decent swimmer. I don't know right now what's going to happen, but I used to swim pretty well. So I would get out of the water somewhat ahead, get on my bike, ride fine, and then the minute the run would start, I would just have people pass me all day long. And mentally, that can be challenging because you're like, dude, I know I look like a beach whale right now, but you really have to catch up to me that quickly. So the run is always the harder part for me. Why I'm going to try to make it a little bit more bearable this year.
Yeah, running is so interesting. Like I'm draining the run as much as you are. So that's why I try to learn more the technical aspect of it, which is very interesting. Because I think that the thing with like swimming, if you don't know how to swim, you're good at drown. You don't have any choice.
That's
the
fine.
technique of swimming.
Yeah.
Biking, if you don't know the technique of bike, you're just gonna fall on the side. Running, I feel like you can have just steps after steps. So you can think like, oh, I do know how to run. But actually, like, I don't know how to run like properly, which make it like painful. I'm slow.
And also I think something people will realize that running, whether you're good at it or not, running when you're rested is one thing. Running when you get off the bike and your muscles have been in this position for X amount of time, your legs, your running style, nothing works the same way. And even like the first few kilometers after 180 on the bike, your legs are going up. That's not the way I'm supposed to move.
Yeah, I don't know that feeling because I did some where I did the triathlon and like some training where you get off the bike and then you run, but again, it wasn't like a full distance biking. So I would imagine your legs just something else.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I guess like for sure, you don't run the same way that you run a marathon.
I mean, look, if you manage to run the whole thing without walking, you'll have my utmost respect on it. I will pretty nutty on the course because you're going to be miles ahead of me. But when I get the report, I'll be like, wow, that's good.
I mean, I don't have like much experience running. Like I have one medal for 10K, which was just when I say like medal, it's a finisher medal. It's not podium medal. I never done like a half marathon. I don't plan to doing it either because weirdly it's kind of the thing like you want to go for a run now. Don't like running. Triathlon, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a strange mindset we have there. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So did you train this weekend?
So I'm not following like any plan.
That's just a nice way to say no.
Like through the week, I'm still like swimming, biking, and running. I did put like more focus on the running, learning like the technical at the moment because that's where I feel like the weakest. Before like kicking off like the training plan. I wish I had like some times also like for the swimming. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with the swimming as well because either I take a coach or not. Like they are remote coach. They don't see you like swimming.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the best things to do either around that thing. I think I can swim.
Either being swim team or and like Master Swim can also help because the coach usually will give you some feedback and will help you with things.
Yeah, but the thing again is like, okay, you have like 1-2 sessions a week, but then doesn't necessarily fit like my plan. So that's where having like I'm thinking maybe someone that can give you like some feedback, like, I don't know. I did like the gait test like for running, which was good. Like you spend like 30 minutes, they give you like some feedback. I know that you can do similar stuff with like swimming. They put you like in a teeny pool, they film you and give you some feedback.
It's really cool.
Is it very useful though? Like,
so a few stuff that I've done a few times that's pretty cool. They actually have a mirror at the bottom of the pool, and it's one of those infinity pools. One light infinity pools, the ones that have the jets in front of you, and then you can set a certain speed, so you can see how you're swimming. And the cool part is you keep your head down, you can actually see your whole stroke going, so you can totally see how you catch the water, how you turn or not turn. That part was neat. That part was really neat.
Yeah. I just have like the feeling, the kind of thing that you need to reach a certain level for it to be useful. For someone like me, where there's so much room to improve, to get something like that advanced. I mean, like I did it like for running, so equally that will apply for swimming. I'm just like unsure I will have like a high value for my money based on my current level. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with my swimming. Besides, like, just keep swimming.
Exactly. I think it's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is like for training for the Ironman, you know that you need to do volume, but then it's like how much you can improve your technique to make it like less painful.
Yeah,
I find it interesting. Like with the bike, most of the time, one of the improvements you can do is like, put like a IO on your bike. And they're like, oh yeah, but it's useless. You're gonna just win like 2 minutes for that distance and stuff. And I'm like, but I'm not trying to win time. I just want to make it like less painful. Maybe, if it give you like better run, like, and you finish as slow as if you didn't have it, but you just like in a better shape and feel better mentally, like that's a win to me. So I'm wondering like around like the swim and the run, how you can like equally have that kind of impact.
I think the swim, the biggest thing is more you want to make sure you somewhat have your biomechanics in fine so you don't hurt your shoulders. And also, especially because you don't come from a swimming background, when you put a wetsuit, your shoulder is not going to be working the same way as you do when you swim without the wetsuit. So that's also some things every now and then to go off in the water swim, which, I'm sure England is going to be wonderful this time of the year to go out in open water swim. But that can be one of those deal plus to get used to it, so you can get more of the technique and the flotation and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna into figuring out both things out. I tried like twice my swimsuit. The first time in a very teeny pool, 10 meter, right before I race.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then it was race day.
If only we knew someone who had a lake close to him that we could go and crash on a regular basis. But maybe we can figure some ways to do that.
I know. Well, actually, I think there's like a 50-meter pool not too far from me. It's an outside pool. I think they will allow to use your wetsuit. But again, well, it will still be a win. The open water is different in a lake. And here we are talking about like the sea.
Right. But somewhere we're going to swim when they actually have to use the tide to get people go in the channel. And from what I hear, you're probably going to have your fastest swim time ever, no matter what, even by stroke, because by the time you catch the current coming out of that J and into the channel, it goes pretty fast. So
yeah, that's kind of my expectation. Plus with the salt, like your flotation is better.
Salt, wetsuits, and current. You're going to go like under an hour.
Yeah. Then let's not forget there's people around. Maybe wave.
Grab some feet, and that's good.
I think in the channel, if there's wave, it should be like fine. But on the open sea, because there's still like an open sea.
Yeah.
The big, that's where it would be funky.
Yeah, the going out against the waves can be a bit annoying. That's I got netting with Australia once. That was interesting.
Yeah, but it's not gonna have any wave.
No, it's gonna be like dead flat. We're only gonna have the wind on our back, even though it's a loop. It's gonna be on our back all the time, and then the run is gonna be downhill, all 4 loops, no problem.
Perfect. Yeah, that we know how to adjust the training around that.
Well, so are you going to train this week? Are you going to go and do stuff, or are you going to follow my my approach of swimming 200 meters and then going to the hot tub for a while?
I think I'm gonna carry on like focusing on the running technique. I think I'm almost done around that topic. I'm trying to figuring out like what plan I'm gonna follow, or if I find like a coach or anything like that. That's gonna be like the goal for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I still can make my mind of how the best. Well, I bet like the best approach is just take a coach, but they're so expensive at the same time. Like
we're in the wrong business, that's for sure.
Yeah, I take triathlon just by itself is a very costly type of sport.
We need sponsors.
And tempted by so many things, including the coach. So yeah, I need to do some math, some calculation, and see where it sits. What about you? So next week, what's the plan?
I'm gonna start to see if I can do that loaded bike thing when I'm buying my bike. Spend more time on the bike, and then the week after, when I'm not close to the bike, to do a little bit more running. Though I'm probably going to try to find places where I can do more of the elliptical machine, so it's not as much of a stress on the body just yet, because the body needs to lose some buoyancy, and then also because all the places I'm going to be at the next few weeks don't have any pulls up on your bike that I checked, so that's fine. So it's gonna be more like trying to crank it up on the bike to figure out where the power thresholds are for the moment, so to try a little bit more, more condensed well on the bike, and slowly put the other on.
So it does sound like you're gonna get in shape first, do some stuff.
Yeah, because given the job that I'm on, if I go and run, I feel bad for my knees and my hips and everything if I go and do it now. So I'm gonna first again decrease buoyancy, and then I'll go a lot more to running again, a lot more, and so forth.
Do you aim for a specific day to have like a proper plan where It's very well structured, or
Every time I've done, well, and whether it was structured or not, it's really the last like 12 to 16 weeks that really mattered the most. When you really want to be specialized, when you really want to start doing a lot of breaks in the right way, where you really want to be dialed out on your position on the bike, where all the little, like, those details start to matter a lot more. Like before that, my feel is more like doing a lot of volume, start to nail down nutrition, start to nail down things that will be handy later. But I mean, for example, I have my road bike. I'm not gonna change bike or anything. So right now, I'm just gonna train on the road bike upright, and it'll be fine for now. The handlebars will show up at some point, but not the tri bars. I mean, will eventually show up, but not right now.
yeah, which makes me think about like thought about the approach of taking like because even 40 weeks training, one of my fears as well is to like burn out as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where like 12 months is maybe a bit more wise because you lower the risk.
Obviously, some great software to avoid the burnout part, so we should be covered there. But no, I think you're spot on though. If it becomes too much of a job, then it's not fun anymore. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who throw in a few races in there as part of their training as well, just so they can rehearse, but they can also have race atmosphere and fun. There are many different ways to do it, but it should not become something that's, oh my God, I had to train today. I cannot deal. It sucks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, that's maybe what's something that I'm gonna do. Take like maybe a 40 weeks training, follow the training as much as I can. And maybe later on having a coach for like the 12 remaining weeks. So they know that I'm like fit for the training. They know like my background. I will have like all the numbers that will help them to build a plan. That's an approach that I'm thinking about because that could cut some costs. That's just like 40 weeks of coaching.
Yeah, it's those things ain't cheap. That's for sure.
No.
All right. Should we call it a day for today and then reconvene next time to see how much effort we've put in or lack thereof?
Sounds good to me.
All right, cool. Well, it's gonna be interesting. I'm sure you're gonna be putting in more training than I am. That's what's gonna happen for next week. All right.
Let's compare next week.
Sounds good.
Cool.